Mic'd up.
Thank you for coming. Up from the Yankees Coast to Coast on a kind of lost night, a little upsetting. Very much. I think I anticipated just about every aspect of this game tonight.
I think you are absolutely correct. We talked about this offline, and you hit the nail on the head with regard to this.
And I'm not happy about it.
You and I have a big disagreement on something, but ultimately it comes down to one thing again. They had Crochet on the ropes in the first inning, did nothing. And Crochet got better as the game went on.
Yep.
And then when they got the bases loaded in the last inning, they couldn't come up with the big hit. Stanton struck out. Grisham struck out. That was the end of that.
No, Grisham hit the pop-up, but it was a weak little half swing.
Grisham struck out in the ninth inning, I'm talking
about.
Sorry,
Grisham. It was, what's his name? It was Jazz. Jazz
hit the pop-up.
Right.
Stanton struck out and Grisham struck out, and Jazz hit the pop-up, and we can get into that. But, first off, I'd like to say something about the Yankee roster. They did something that we talked about yesterday, which is Slater was benched and Escara's on the team, which is a good thing. Ohtani just led off with a home run. So that's a good thing. But what I don't understand is Heel is not on the team and Yarborough is not on the team, but Blackburn is. Now, maybe they don't think Heel could pitch out of the pen. That's fine if that's the case. But I would have picked Yarborough over Blackburn because it gives you another lefty and a guy who can give you length. And that's Blackburn's a righty who can give you length. So, Blackburn pitches in a game, the game is over because that's the only time he's going to get in. Whereas Yarborough could come in if somebody has a bad start, he could give you some good length. And I think he's a better pitcher than Blackburn, unless he's still hurt.
All right. I mean, I understand. I think let's not talk. I know what you're doing. Why you're right. But that's more of a pre-game call.
Yeah, I know. So
let's talk about that. Maybe we should talk about that tomorrow.
The big ticket items are Volpe had 2 hits. One was a homer. That's a good thing.
Great game.
Great game. And Judge had 2 hits. However, he clearly can't throw.
Yeah, that's very concerning. They were playing. They said if you go there, take the extra base.
Yeah, and they said he was going to open it up by the playoffs, and he hasn't. That and exactly what we talked about yesterday with Grisham, exactly what we said.
I couldn't believe it. I swear.
I was like, my TV. God, we look like geniuses.
It's like, the Cadillacing, I saw it all the way through the play.
Yeah.
He's going out with his back away from the play, doing his thing. Then instead of rotating himself to make the throw, he makes a very smooth looking, the big sleep baloney.
Yes.
That's me. Listen, good luck next season getting a contract.
He's going to get a big contract. Even Ricky Henderson, who Cadillac everything, wouldn't do that in that situation. Ricky Henderson was a spotter baseball. That just bothers the hell out of me. Is that the guy wouldn't? I mean, we said it yesterday. You said it, Cadillac, and I said they should tag up every single time he's moving away from home plate, especially towards left field, even from first base, because he doesn't have that strong an arm. It's accurate, but it's not strong, and he's never going to get rid of the ball quick enough, and it's just ridiculous. Yeah. So the big ticket item that we're going to talk about, which we do absolutely disagree on, is you think they should have left Fried in at 102 pitches. Yeah. And I had no problem with them taking out Fried, especially for Weaver, which obviously didn't work out. But I'm not going to sit back and be 20/20 hindsight and say, why'd they bring in Weaver? I thought Weaver was the right guy to bring in. But, I think I wrote this during the game, right? Through 3 innings, Crochet was at 49 pitches and Fried at 37. Looked like the Yankees were going to push Crochet right out of the game. But then Fried had innings of 24, 18, and 19 pitches to get him to 98 through 6 innings. And he was struggling. And he got 4 pitches and got the guy out in the 7th inning. But the real thing that really pisses me off, and it goes back to things, is Yankees got calls in their favor. This is not the fact that the umpire was biased in favor of the Red Sox. This is Narvaez, both at bats was struck out. Combined, he threw between 13 and 18 extra pitches going into the 7th inning. If you take away, let's say it's 13, he's now at 85 pitches in the 6th inning, and he's now at 89 pitches, assuming what's not in evidence, when they take him out, and they're not going to take him out with less than 90 pitches. My problem is the umpire put them in the bad position. Now, the umpire was not any worse or better against the Yankees or the Red Sox, but this is why they need a robo-off. This is just stupid at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see the scores on this guy, because not only was this guy not good, he called pitches strikes, and later in the game called them for balls. And then later in the game, he called them for strikes. And you can't have that. If you're going to tell me that each umpire is different, then each umpire should have a pitch that's in the same place to the same batter be called the same thing. And that killed Fried's pitch count. Killed it.
Okay, so I'm gonna explain my thinking on why they had to go to Boone, why Boone had to go to at that point, and I wish he had not. I wish he had. My point is, he doesn't have a choice. He has nowhere to go.
I agree with that.
And that's the biggest problem. There's a more global issue here.
I agree.
Just whether or not he had 98 pitches and 106 pitches, and he was beginning to run out of gas. The problem is, he had no choice. He should have kept him in because he had nowhere to go. If he goes to
well, that's why I said I think Weaver was the right guy. I thought Weaver was the right guy.
But Weaver just isn't the guy. What a difference a year makes. I mean, last year, the guy was lights out. I mean, he did that one bad thing. He gave up the home run to Cleveland.
Yeah.
That was it. Everything else was unreal.
He hasn't been able to put away hitters for over a month. And that was an 11 pitch at bat to the first batter, and he couldn't put him away. And didn't he have him 0-2, and he couldn't put him away.
Yeah. And then I was thinking, when he had Yoshida, I was thinking, why don't you just walk him? That'll be his third batter and get him out. But then you've got Bregman and Story. You can't do it. That's the problem, because right there, what you do is you get him out of there, and at least you create a double play. And also, Yoshida kills him in this game. He kills him all the time. Yoshida does this.
He's a professional hitter.
He's a good player, and he does everything that we would love to have here. A guy who just makes contact.
Absolutely.
Not great, but a contact.
He's not a home run hitter, but he'll hit you 20 if he doesn't get hurt. He missed 100 games this year. If he doesn't get hurt, he's going to hit you 25 homers and 35 doubles. And he's not going to strike out that much. He might not walk that much either, but he's going to hit 260, 270. And he's the type of guy you want in the middle of your lineup. I think that he's quasi-Bellinger-esque without the defense. But he's that kind of guy. And then in the ninth inning, we were talking about this right before we got on air. I don't understand why Goldschmidt was on the bases. I know it would have only made the game 3-2, but you put pressure on the defense whenever you put speed out there. And the Yankees, they weren't going to pinch hit for Judge. They weren't going to pinch hit for Bellinger. They weren't going to pinch hit for Stanton. There was no way they were pinch hitting for any of those guys. And it's not like they were going to use Dominguez as the pinch hitter anyhow if they did. So why not get Dominguez out there, put some pressure on the defense? Okay, so he doesn't steal second base. I don't have a problem with him if he goes out there and doesn't steal second. But he would have tagged up and put pressure on the defense on that fly ball. And there would have been pressure on the defense on that little bloop, because maybe they would have pushed him to score on that bloop. I don't think he would have or should have scored on that bloop. It was hard to read. So I don't think that's where it hurt them. But you got to put speed out there and give them something to think about.
I think they should have sent them anyway. And what bothers me is...
I wouldn't have sent Goldschmidt because
but here's the thing. Ball's going over. He's going. Again, this is where these guys have to read the outfield positioning. The outfielder is going across his body to make a play that is going to make. He's going to do two things.
You're right. He's going to his right and he's a left-handed thrower.
He's always going to have nothing on the ball, or his body movement is going to push him up the baseline.
Absolutely, I agree.
And I had to do
Abreu's a lefty going this way. I had to do the.
You got to go there.
I don't know. Yeah, but it's with Goldschmidt, I wouldn't go.
Doesn't matter. Wasn't going to make a difference.
Only because it doesn't make. If they didn't hit.
It didn't matter because he was going to strike out. You knew Grisham wasn't going to get a hit because
Grisham had
hit. Grisham does one thing. It's a home run. He's going to walk or he's going to hit a home run in that season.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, I don't know if Grisham's eligible because he signed the 1-year deal. But Yankees can't offer him a $21 million qualifying offer, and they're not going to offer it to Weaver. They're not going to offer it to Williams. They got like 8 guys, and none of them are going to.
They're going to offer. They're going to offer it when he opts out. Can they offer it to
Bellinger?
To Bellinger if he opts out.
I don't know because of the opt-out situation. They might be able to, but normally when you trade for a guy in the last year of his contract, you can't do that. But is this considered the last year of his contract? I'm not as familiar with the Major League Baseball Players Association union contract as I used to be when I was wanted to do that for a living. But that's an interesting question. I mean, if they can, they have to offer it to Bellinger, but he's not.
I would.
He's not going to take it
He
anyhow.
won't accept it.
No, because he's got a $25 million option that he could take, and the Yankees would say yes to. So why would he take a $21 million qualifying offer? There's no reason in the world for him to do that.
And so, because of the fact that that's counterintuitive, they're not. I'm sure that rule is in there. The Yankees.
Well, the only reason they would offer it to him is so they can get compensation in a draft pick.
Yeah,
and that would be the only reason to offer. Yeah, so that's why you would offer to him. But this game was, again, the Yankees didn't hit good pitching. The other thing, and I think I sent this out earlier today to you as well, is there's so far in this new format, there's been 12 wild card series. Whoever's won the first game has won the series all 12 times. Now, both of us yesterday said we wouldn't be surprised if they lose game 1, but come back and win games 2 and 3. So we're both betting against that trend, at least as far as what we think is going to happen. But it's interesting to know that, they didn't.
Were all those at the home field of the losing team?
No, the home team has won series by winning the first game. The question is, the games that went to game 3, visiting teams have won and gone to the World Series. I mean, that's what's happened. So I don't know, but no team has lost game 1 in a best-of-3 series in this format and gone to the World Series. Whether they're the home team that loses or the visiting team that loses game 1, they have not come back to win the series. Now, the Yankees tomorrow, they're going to have their lineup of left-handed hitters coming back, and they'll put their hottest hitter, Ben Rice, back in the lineup. Like I said yesterday.
Imagine that.
I actually would have played Rice over Wells today, unless it was Fried that said, I want to pitch to Wells. And then I would have seriously considered playing Rice over Goldschmidt, even though he had a couple of hits. I would have considered that as well.
And I thought that Wells looked like Wells always looks to me.
I didn't think he had bad at bats. I really didn't think he had bad at bats. I think Grisham had 4 strikeouts tonight. 4.
Yeah.
4 at bats, 4 strikeouts. Grisham, they don't have a right-handed option for Grisham because they won't play Dominguez right-handed. So, and Slater shouldn't be there. Maybe they could have played Caballero out in the outfield and moved Judge to center field, but Judge can't throw, so it's irrelevant.
Well, they've also basically taken the bat out of Dominguez's hand by not allowing him.
Right. What's right, and I think that's a problem for next year. And they'll have to figure that out in the offseason. He's probably still got tremendous trade value because if you look at his stats and his numbers, he had a good year for a third-year rookie or whatever he is, but he's still considered a rookie, and he's still only 22. It was good to see Volpe get those hits. That's a good sign for the Yankees. And it was against good pitching. So maybe Volpe is one of those guys that hits good pitching and can't hit the.
Hey, and I was happy to see you and I both wanted Goldschmidt out in the 9th inning, and he got a big hit. The only problem is that's where he ends. They go base to base because they can't do anything else. Yeah. They don't have any alternative. Nothing flashy, nothing unusual in their
Goldschmidt
in the business model. Right. There's nothing that this team can do other than bludgeon you. That's it. They bludgeon you.
Well, that's it. Yeah. And then you saw. I mean, I texted everybody and today when I was sitting around, and you saw how the Cubs won. Detroit ended up winning, but they scored they scored on a squeeze play.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that Cleveland went with the contact play with 1 out in the 9th and a man on 3rd, and the guy hit a grounder to the pitcher, and Ramirez got thrown out at the plate in the 9th inning for the 2nd out of the inning. But that's a different story.
Nothing in their business model they had no answer other than just go up there and swing as hard as you can and hope the ball lands in the seats. That's it.
That's it.
They had three guys get up there. Stanton looked terrible. He swung through a fantastic. It was an amazing pitch, but Stanton looked awful all night. He was missing all night.
Yeah,
the first inning
double play, set the tone. Yeah. Absolutely set the tone. And like I said, Crochet got better as the game progressed. He went 49 pitches in the third, 14 in the fourth, 18 in the fifth, where they had a chance, 13 in the sixth, and 6 in the seventh, and retired 17 in a row through 7 2/3 innings.
Hey, I have a question about Chapman. Did he throw over 100 today?
Anything he threw over 100? Well, he threw 95, 96 to start the ninth, but then he was at 101 and 102.
Was he?
Yeah. So, hey, we do have a call. So AJ Rovner from Mic'd Up Interviews, whose show is on this channel as well, has a comment for us, and it's something that actually somebody else asked me today. So we're going to play that real quick before we go.
Is there any way Boone comes back if the Yankees lose this series?
Well, Boone will be in the last year of his contract next year, right? Oh, he signed a 3-year deal before this year. I could see them dumping Boone and blaming him, but the roster is completely flawed, and it comes back to who's not going anywhere. Cashman.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I gotta say, this is a thing. I hope, AJ, thank you for that. It's a good question. It's we think about it and we talk about it a lot, and I go up and down because I personally can't stand Boone as a manager. I think he sucks. I think he got outmanaged today.
He definitely got outmanaged. He
got outsmarted again. As always, they tried to be smart.
Well, that's what they did. They outsmarted themselves. Sitting Rice was outsmarting themselves.
And then the way he handled it, he had nowhere to go, so he goes. He doesn't leave him in. He decides he's gonna take the heat if he leaves him in and he gets hurt, or he gets beaten. I would like Boone to go. I think 90% of Yankee fans in the Yankee universe would like to see Boone go, just because they like a manager who actually teaches their players how to catch and throw the baseball.
Well, that's the biggest problem is who's out there. I mean, it's not like Bochy's going to come to the Yankees.
Well, he's going to go to the Giants.
He's going to. I think he's either retiring or go to the Giants. You don't want Bob Melvin because he's proven himself to be a manager. When you have bad talent, he can do well. Francona was the guy they should have gone after in the offseason this year before they re-signed Boone.
That would have been great. God, I like Frank.
But there's nothing out there that you would
go. Mattingly's out there.
Mattingly's the only guy, but
give them something.
Cashman will never ever sign Mattingly.
Well, that's why Cashman has to go, because that's not his decision.
The other guy that they can get
should not be.
What's the other guy's name that I keep forgetting? From Pittsburgh fired him. That used to be with the Yankees. Derek Shelton. Who, by the way, is fantastic on the radio, on MLB radio. But Derek Shelton is a guy who's got a lot of history with the Yankees. He was in the organization for a really long time before he went over to the Indians.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he ran our first fantasy camp in 2004.
He did. He was great.
He's a really good guy. Frankie the Yankee and him still friendly. He always says hi to Frankie when they're in the Washington, D.C. area. Frankie goes down to see him. But, yeah, that's the only other guy that's out there. I wouldn't mind them picking Mattingly and putting Shelton as the bench coach. There's no way Osmus should ever be allowed to be the manager of this team. So, I mean, and that's why I didn't really want Boone fired during the season, because that's all they would have done. Sort of like what the Nationals did. They fired Davey Martinez, gave the job to what's-his-face? To Cairo? Yeah, they gave it to Cairo, and Cairo said, I'm not changing anything. That's just asinine. How do you not change anything when the team is terrible?
Well, they didn't have much to change. That team was terrible. So it wasn't going to be they weren't going to get anywhere.
Yeah, so do I think Boone should be fired if they lose this series? I think the problem is I don't think Boone's a good manager. I don't like him as manager. I want them fired after last season. I don't like the way he runs the team. I don't like anything that he does. I think a manager can win you 5 to 7 games, but he could lose you 7 to 10 games. And I think Boone is a 7 to 10 game losing manager for how he managed the team. But I also don't totally blame him, because the Yankees are slaves to analytics, which we've talked about way too much. And I don't think he makes the lineups. And I think that, that's the way it goes. And, Weaver has become Scott Proctor. He's burnt out. He's done. There's nothing you can do about it. The same thing happened to Loizaga. They burned him out. He's done. He also had a 2-cent head and a $10 million arm. So it's the same story over and over again. But during the season, he doesn't let the pitchers pitch, and therefore they're not ready to do it in the playoffs. Lots of pressure on Carlos Rodon tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of pressure, and let's see. I'm hopeful that we'll get some bats back in there because today. Listen, I just don't know this whole slave to the lefty righty thing. I get it to start, but I don't understand why you just stick to it. After about the fifth inning, when you're in a 1-run game,
if it's a fifth inning and guys are not showing that they're hitting the guy that's on the mound,
you got to get them out.
Which Caballero and Rosario did not show that they were hitting. I thought it was surprising that they put Jazz in for the 9th inning for defense. I mean, I don't think Rosario's a stud. Don't get me wrong at second base, but I was surprised to see Jazz there, and they didn't even tell us. The other thing that they said with regard to the Fried issue on the TV was they asked, are the Yankees playing for the long haul? And that's why they took him out. And I'm thinking to myself, if that's the reason they took him out is because they think the Yankees are looking for a long run in the World Series, that's another huge mistake because you can't get there unless you manage in playoffs. In the regular season, I could see you managing for the long term, which is why analytics works over the long term. It doesn't work in a short series of 3, 5, or even 7 games. But you can't get out of game one. You can't win. You got to manage every single game as if it's the 7th game of the World Series, unless you have a commanding 3-0 lead in a series.
Right. All right, my friend. All right, I think we gave it a good run for the first. We're going to do this every
tomorrow,
game.
I don't think I can do a show tomorrow after the game because I have to teach class. I think you should invite Kramer.
Yeah, I'll do it with Kramer tomorrow.
And I will try as best I can to leave comments for you guys. So if you can create the show early so I can make comments during the show about the game, you could feed me in if you want to hear my obnoxious comments as we go on. So if you create it, we could do that.
Oh, yeah. Boy, I really want to hear those.
Might just be, hey, maybe Marvel Schwanz will call the show.
Hey, listen, where is Ezra von Mermelschwanz? I haven't seen him in a while.
I don't know. But he may call tomorrow, Ezra.
Sounds good. All right. We'll talk.
I'll speak to you tomorrow. I'm sure
we'll
be texting. I'm sure we'll be texting 474 times between our 2 fantasy camp text strings. Take it easy.
Be good. Have fun in prison.